Greetings, YouTube! Yeah, I've worked your way back into the WGS Arcade. We're back with more Boob Tenshi 2, and on the last episode, we kind of went on a workout thing with Tessa. Apparently, she goes on about why she doesn't like being called cute and whatnot, and for some reason, they had to sneak in a little panty shot of Tessa, so that's all I'm going to say. So, somebody's waiting for us on the other side of our bedroom door, so... Sitting up in my bed, I studied the door for a moment. Who is it? A few seconds passed before the door cracked open, just enough to let me see a shock of blonde hair and an eye peering inside. Kenji? Rose? For a moment, I considered what to do. Then I realized that the worst of the time window's effects must have worn off by now. Especially since Rose was still standing on the other side of my door. Hi, would you like to come in? At these words, Rose's eyes lowered, and she seemed to shrink back a step. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Listen, Kenji, we just wanted to tell you that we're sorry about what happened, and... Wait, is Kyo there too? I didn't even want to wait for Rose to respond. Instead, I quickly got up off the bed and made my way to the door and opened it. As I did, Rose moved away from me as she was standing with her back against the far wall. Catching a bit of movement out of the corner of my eye, I turned and saw Kyo taking a step back as well. How are you feeling? We're okay now, at least, more or less. Tensei told us about what happened after we got back, and... Told you? Wait, you mean you don't remember? Bits and pieces, that's all. When we got back through the time window, everything was... Nothing felt right at all. We couldn't make sense of anything. And when we saw you... All I could remember was feeling this overwhelming need. Far worse than anything I'd ever felt before, Kenji. I needed to have you, and... It's a good thing Tensei came up with that stun baton. Look, nothing happened, you two. I'm okay, and I'm really glad to see that you're both doing better. Listen, why don't we go out for a while? Get something to eat. We've already had a really rough time, and I think we could all use a break. A chance to get away from the lab for a while. So, what do you say? I'd like to, Kenji, but Tensei wanted me to work on some kind of medication that we could use to give us better protection if we have to go really far into the past again. And I'd rather have something ready before Mizuki and Bunny show up again. Still, that doesn't mean you and Kyo can't go, if you like. How about we go to the mall? I'm not in the mood for anything really fancy, and besides, I like to do a little shopping. Excuse me. And we haven't been outside of the lab since, well... I held up my hand to Kyo and smiled gently. Then I think it's long since past time we corrected that. Shall we? Kyo immediately grinned and reached out to snag my wrist. Sure. See you both later. After Rose left, I guided Kyo towards the elevator that led to the surface. Once the door slid open and let us in, I glanced down at the Japanese girl who often seemed far younger than her years. For all the crazy happenings of earlier in the day, she seemed bright and cheerful as ever. Suddenly, she spoke up. Oh, I really wanted to go lingerie shopping today, but I can't while they're still like this. She huffed and looked down at her still swollen assets. I did my best not to notice them. Yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to go soon. Hey, yeah. I became aware of my cheeks flushing red as the elevator dinged and came to a stop. Sometime later, we arrived at the mall. As we made our way down the corridors, scanning the various stores and kiosks, Kyo let out a cute gasp of surprise. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot! Forgot what? Look! As Kyo pointed off to the side, I looked up to see a nearby video game store. At the front of it was a cardboard cutout featuring what looked like a magical girl with a wand. High School Heroes 3 Ninja Cheerleader Challenge came out this week. I had it on pre-order and everything. Come on! Oop. Without another word, Kyo grabbed me by my wrist and gleefully dragged me over to the store. Struggling to keep from losing my footing, I suddenly crashed into the counter, as she released my wrist and began talking to the person manning the register. As this went on, I couldn't help but be a bit relieved and even more amazed at how quickly Kyo had changed. Just like that, all of her worries and concerns were forgotten as she lost herself once more in the playful antics and behavior that came so naturally to her. Before long, Kyo had purchased the game that she had wanted and placed it in her bag, and with that, we were on our way. Whee! I've been waiting for this to come out for what it feels like forever! I can't wait to get back and completely go crazy on it! What about food? Don't forget, we promised to get Rose something to eat as well. Huh? Oh, right. Of course, next stop, the food court. Once again, Kyo grabbed me by the wrist and started pulling me towards along the food court. As we went along, I was sure I could feel people practically gaping at the small but curvy girl in the tiny outfit. And I had to admit, if I was in any of their places, I would likely have been doing the same thing myself. Before long, we had arrived at the food court, and Kyo and I separated just long enough to stop at our preferred restaurants and pick up something to eat. Making a mental note to ask Kyo what she thought of Rose would like to have, I picked up the tray with my food and made my way over to the table Kyo had picked out for us. As I sat down, I noticed another bag on the seat next to her. Is that for Rose? Uh-huh. I picked up one of her favorites for dinner and dessert. I figured we all needed a treat with all the work we've been doing and all the rest of it. Unable to argue with that, I simply nodded, and with that, the two of us sat back and ate. In between mouthfuls of dinner, we exchanged idle conversation, chatting about ordinary things, anything that had nothing to do with the time window, and all of the recent chaos. Say, Kyo, that game you picked up, High School Heroes 3? You really seem excited about it coming out. Well, yeah, it's one of my favorite fighting game series. I still remember when the first one came out. You know, Kenji, video games have always been one of my favorite things. And all I had to do was put in a disc or a cartridge or whatever, switch the power on, and just like that, I was somebody else. Huh? Why would you want that? Guess you don't remember, but I used to be a wallflower back in school and even in college. I didn't really stand out until I got these. God damn. With that, Kyo leaned forward and presented her chest to me, giving a perfect view down her cleavage. Right, you and Rose mentioned that you were, As my cheeks flushed with embarrassment, both at the view I was getting and the unhappy glares being leveled in our direction, Kyo huffed with annoyance. Oh, you would have to remember that I used to be a total flatty. That's not my fault. It's not like I could pick and choose which memories I lost. Yeah, I know, but it's like really annoying to think of myself that way. Just a little wallflower that didn't stand out while the bigger girls got all of the attention. Kyo gave a tiny sigh, leaving me feeling guilty for accidentally defeating the purpose of our going out like this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Nah, it's okay. We all been pretty out of it, haven't we? Besides, it's actually been sort of made me grateful for the time window's effects in a weird kind of way. Although I do wish I could keep it. Well, at least more of it, hee hee. Kyo jostled her still swollen assets proudly, and I felt my cheeks turning red again. I couldn't help but notice that her small tank top was looking more like a bra as it struggled to contain her volume. I was about to sputter out some response when Kyo continued. Sorry, anyway, I always loved video games, especially fighting games and platformers where I could play as a girl. That way, it was so easy to pretend that it was actually me on the screen. You know, saving the day and all the rest of it. She got a thoughtful smile at this. Anyway, let's hurry up and eat. I don't want Rose's dinner and stuff to get too cold. Good idea. With that, Kyo and I returned to our meals, exchanging idle chit-chat. Before long, we were full and on our way back to the lab. As we approached the lab perimeter and we were making our way to the elevator door, Kyo gave me a playful look. You know something, Kenji? What, Kyo? I never minded fighting Bunny and Mizuki before because, well, not just because I thought they were dangerous and trying to mess up time, but the main reason is I enjoyed it was because it was like actually being in a video game. I mean, think about it. There we were, Rose and me, going back in time to save the future from a pair of nutjobs who were playing with the past and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. As I nodded my understanding, Kyo again leaned forward, giving me a perfect look down her cleavage.
Seriously, it was like a dream come true for me. Not only did I have a new body, like something out of a manga after getting stuck that one time, but fighting Krontek? That was just so awesome. No major moral dilemmas or anything like that. We were good, they were bad, and we always saved the day. It always felt so good.
Kyo's smile faltered as she stood back up straight.
But Bunny and Mizuki, were they ever really bad? And now...
I knelt down a bit and placed a comforting hand on Kyo's shoulder. I know things have gotten a lot more complicated, haven't they? But I'm sure we can figure it all out. I mean, we've proven that none of it, the future, not even the past, is set in stone. I'm sure that there's some way for us to save Bunny and Mizuki's world, and help Michelle as well. We just gotta find it. That's all. As Kyo and I looked at each other, the Japanese girl's cheek turned a shade of pink.
Kenji, thanks. Now let's get inside and get to bed. With everything that's been happening lately, Tensei won't like it if we're out too late.
Right, and I just realized I still have to call home and let my parents know I'll be spending the night here. With that in mind, I watched as Kyo entered a series of numbers and prompted the elevator door to open. Before long, we were descending into the earth once again, with thoughts about what tomorrow would bring dancing in our minds. Ooh, my head. And before we go any further, guys and gals, we're going to go ahead and call it an episode, and when we come back to the arcade, we're going to see just what exactly Bunny and Mizuki are doing with the Egyptian princess. So with that being said, I am your friendly neighborhood WrestleGamer, and I will see you at the next Warp Zone. Bye, guys!
Beautiful Bobby just collapsing! Rockin' Ray in the corner!
Beautifully flexing here for the New Iberia crowd.
Beautiful!